Okay, welcome back to the no bullshit channel. No, but anyway, today I will talk about running out of juice. So now I've run out of juice several times, but this time it wasn't me. Yes, it was a woman. So in January 2019, a 48-year-old woman ran out of juice in the first generation Leaf, 24 kilowatt hour. And what happened was that she ran out, and then cars behind her had to brake hard, and that caused some accidents, some collisions and stuff. And she had to pay 1,200 euros in fines, plus an additional 300 euros in legal cost. So, what the heck happened? Why did the Leaf suddenly stop like that? And the lady claims that there was some technical faults, and that she claimed that we had 25% left, and that there was like no warning before it happened. So that got me thinking. Hey, I had problems before with some of my EVs I've been testing, and also my own car. So, I mean, could it be that EVs, they can suddenly stop like that and cause some dangerous situations, And also, I was wondering, why was it so harsh? And why did she had to pay such a big bill, And what did the police not like EVs? Are they trying to make it hard for EVs? So, this case got my interest. So I wanted to interview the woman, and also try to borrow the car and test it to find out if there's something wrong with it. Because, I mean, I had a little history with Leaf, so I kind of know how they should work, And as I mentioned, I had problems in the past with other EVs, like my Tesla Model X ran out with 14 kilometers of range left on the display. And also that was due to uncalibrated BMS. And then when I borrowed the Mercedes EQC, it had a faulty module. So suddenly towards the end, the percentages went down way faster than expected. So, it could be the same case here with the Leaf. So that's why I wanted to find out. But unfortunately, the woman didn't want to be contacted by press or anyone. So I asked my police friend about this, yes. And he referred to information that is available in Lovdata, which is a place you have, I guess, public information. And what he told me was that, okay, it happened in winter. January in Norway is winter, pretty cold at some times, and she drove about 100 kilometers before she ran out. And you guys know that the first generation Leaf doesn't go that far. Stretching it to 100 kilometers in winter is actually quite good. So that means that most likely there was no fault in the system. And also, on that stretch, it happened on E18, was around Høvik, or around there, on the western side of Oslo. It has a shitload of fast chargers everywhere. It's almost ridiculous how many they have compared to over here. And also, it happened on a Saturday evening. And Saturday evening is a time where there is not much traffic on those fast chargers. It was Friday evening and Friday afternoon, that would have been a completely different story. So you have lots of fast chargers, and they are most likely available, many of them. And also, the Leaf will warn you several times. I've driven many Leafs, and when I drive it low, it will not only warn you once, it will warn you when it's getting low, it will warn you when it's at zero, charge now, it warns you several times. So it's not like it comes very sudden. And also the same case with the EQC I had. Okay, that one didn't warn me that there was something wrong with the battery, but it still warned me about low battery, So you should, she did get several warnings about this. And eventually the car entered turtle mode. And then she had to drive really slow on this. It was motorway, only 80 kilometers per hour, but most people, they cruise around 90, 100 kilometers per hour over there. And she was probably doing about 40 kilometers per hour because there was a queue building up behind her. And this was on a 3-lane. It was 3-lane in each direction, highway. And for some reason, she drove on the middle lane. Cars behind build up, and then finally she stopped in the middle lane when the car finally ran out of juice. But it doesn't just suddenly stop. Like I experienced in many of my cases, is that even when I had that canvas error and Optimus Prime had an emergency stop, it will not just this car will not just slam on the brakes by itself. It will go into neutral, and then you roll freely. And actually, before that, you also get a warning that car is shutting down. So you still get some warning that's, this is the end. Brace yourself for impact almost. Yeah. So in this case, it was in fact a very clear user error. So I'm not going to bash more about that woman, what happened. But the police told me that if you run out of fuel or battery or whatever in a tunnel, then you will be charged for it, because that is not safe way to do it. But if you run out of juice outside somewhere, and you just take all the safety precautions, then you will not be charged or fined for anything. So usually when we had the race, the Ampere E versus Ioniq, unfortunately Pavel ran out of juice. The car said 25. The Ampere E claims 25 kilometers of range left, and then suddenly it just stopped. But he did everything right. The car just started rolling slower and slower, and he pulled over to the road shoulder and stayed there, and he put on the high visibility jackets, and the police just happened to show up there, and there was no consequences. They actually helped us by being more. They provided us with some tools that we needed to pop up the cover for the towing hook and everything. But why did I make this video in the first place? Because I wanted to find out, like, are the EVs a safety issue? If they run out, will it cause chain reaction crashes behind them, like that? But I found out it's not. In this case, at least, it's not. And I haven't heard of any other cases where EVs will suddenly just stop like that. But on the other hand, I also want to warn you guys to run out of juice like that. Some people, they seem to they drive the car almost down to zero, or even to zero, and then they take a screenshot and then brag about it on Facebook, and that is not cool. I've done the same mistake before. Just watch my very first road trip video where I ran out, and I thought I was so brave and so cool to almost run it out, but. And afterwards, I figured out that it's quite risky, especially if it happens in a very inconvenient place or something. You could endanger other people. So please consider it. Don't do it. Yeah. So actually, after I have run out a couple of times, I actually try to stay above 5%. So I preferably try to, when I estimate the next arrival, I actually count in 10% margin, because if you miscalculate, if there's harsh weather or something, or you miscalculated the consumption of the car, then at least you have that 10% margin. So it happens several times that I count in 10% and then I arrive at 5%, but that is still safe. But if you count in 5% or 0%, then you will be stuck, or you might be driving too slow on the motorway or whatever. Because you might be thinking that but that's safe. The car is not going to stop with the car will not stop before it's completely empty. Well, that is not the case. I've seen cases where, like for me, the car ran out. It was one case that I actually documented. Optimus Prime ran out with 14 kilometers of range left. And there was actually another case where Optimus Prime ran out with 3 kilometers left. I didn't shoot the video then, but it also happened. And we also see from time to time more and more people getting these issues. And as the batteries start aging, then you have more and more of this happening, that cars will stop before zero. So please don't take that risk. Yeah. And what can you do to avoid running out then? What you can do, there are actually very easy steps you can do. So the first thing you should do is fast charge in time, or charge enough, and like I mentioned, have enough margin. And then but you're thinking, no, but I can make it. I can make it to the next one. Yeah, no. Well, if it's risky, then don't risk it, because if you have the opportunity to visit a fast charger, then you should do it. In the case where I ran out of juice with Optimus Prime with 14 kilometers, I actually drove past several fast chargers. And there was also one fast charger right before I ran out that I thought, it's fine. I will just save that time, and get to the supercharger. The problem is that, okay, you might be saving a couple of minutes by not visiting that fast charger, but the consequences is that you might be delayed by 1 to 2 hours. Yeah, so think about that, is it worth the risk? Because once you get stuck there, and also not only that, but you might also lose some money because you have to pay for the tow truck and all that stuff, and it's very inconvenient to stand out there. And also another problem is that it's also not good for the battery health to run it too low, because then the car will be sitting at low state of charge for an extended time. But what you can do if you realize that you might not be able to make it, is you should try to drop your speed. Dropping your speed is going to make a huge impact, but don't hypermile. Just drop your speed by about 10-20 kilometers per hour. You have to look in the situation how it's going, but don't drive too slow, but just drop it a little bit. But what is important is you have to do these, you have to take actions early if you figure out that you might not make it. Don't try to push it towards the end and then to realize that, oh shit, I'm not gonna make it. Then it's much harder to fix it. And also another thing you can do is you can turn off the air conditioning, the HVAC, the heater, because that one steals a lot of power. But on the other hand, avoid getting a fogged window, because that jeopardizes the safety. So what you can do is you can just from time to time just run the defroster and then switch it off. Yeah, so that will help, but don't switch off the headlights or anything, because those things takes almost no power, and we're still talking about safety. Safety is very important, so just run it like I do, like I suggest, then you should be fine. And then what should you do in case you actually run out? Well, okay, if you run out, the car will not suddenly stop. You will get lots of warnings, and also finally the car will just go into neutral and then free roll, and then you can safely find a spot to stop. And what you should do is you should move over and get out of the road. Yeah, move to the right in most countries, and somewhere to the left, I guess, in UK. Just get out there, don't end up in the middle of the road, and then put on your high visibility jacket, and then put up the warning triangle, but put it far enough behind where people can see it in time. Some people, I call them nisser, yeah, they put the warning triangle on top of the car, which is basically useless. And then what do you do to recover? Well, you can call a tow truck, or if you're a little bit skilled, then you can try to get a towing yourself, because most of the time you only miss the target by maybe 1 or 2 kilometers, so it's not too far to get a towing. But again, you have to see if it's legal in your country or not, and if it's safe to do it there or not. Yeah, so anyway, I think that's it. I hope this video was useful for you. So as always, thank you for watching, and talk to you later.